This December only is Customer Appreciation Month all month long. Subway is thanking its customers for being such big fans by offering a 6-inch cold cut combo or meatball marinara for just $2 each. Saying thanks is a big deal. Subway, eat fresh.
The B.S Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the B.S Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The B.S Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The B.S Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report, taping this on a Thursday afternoon. If you missed part one, we had Mike Lombardi from the NFL Network and NFL.com on to talk about the playoff picture in football. And now it's time for part two with our old pal, JackO, who we have not talked to in a while. A lot of baseball stuff happening. We're going to call JackO at work right now. Hopefully he will answer. Let's give him a ring.
Complex litigation. This is John.
Oh, Johnny!
Hey, there he is.
Your old high school classmate, Albert Pujols, just signed a big deal with the Angels. I know you're excited.
Albert's only 32. I'm much older than Albert. I don't know what you're talking about.
You were in the class of 1988 with him at New Britain High School, I thought. No?
Yeah, I did not go to New Britain High School.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to slander you like that.
That's all right. I went to South Catholic High School, which no longer exists.
I was making fun of my Angel fan friends today, and Matthew Berry said, I would rather we spent that money on Pujols than Carl Crawford and John Lackey, and I had no response whatsoever. It just went silent. What do I say to that?
There really is no response. Yeah, Matthew Berry just drops the mic after that and walks off stage, I think. That's all she wrote.
He does. That's all that happens. It's a mic drop.
There's no comeback. It's big for the Angels. They're always the team that's like allegedly always rumored to be in on every free agent, and they never pull the trigger. And they pulled the trigger in a huge way today.
Yeah, Artie Moreno is like our friend Chip in college. Like, I want to pay for Carl Crawford, but I can't.
Exactly.
And then he finally like, ooh, Pujols. All right, I'll pay for him.
I remember them being rumored to be in on A-Rod and be in on Manny and be in on Crawford, and they never did any of those things. And now they did it for Pujols.
And C.J. Wilson, because news just broke that he's going there. I thought that was a good contract, and it made me – I didn't know it was possible, Johnny. I actually feel worse about the John Lackey contract now. I thought I'd hit the nadir for my feelings for John Lackey, and then C.J. Wilson, who's a better pitcher and is better right now than Lackey was 2 years ago, somehow signed for less money. Yeah, so good times. And A.J. Burnett, less money than A.J. too.
Yeah, it makes me feel great about that one too, sure.
Is it weird to be a Yankee fan and now your team just isn't involved in any of these huge market? Basically, since Steinbrenner died, you're never involved with any of these big chess pieces every year. Like Steinbrenner would have at least thrown himself into this Pujols thing somehow, right? Pretended he was going to sign him.
If Steinbrenner was alive, we'd have both Burley and C.J. Wilson. Like, there's not a question in my mind. He would have thrown the bank at both of those guys. It is so odd. I mean, the winter meetings and Cashman's down there like looking for scraps and bargain basement things.
Yeah.
And you know what's really interesting is guys like C.J. Wilson, his agent had to call the Yankees and ask if he could come visit the Yankees just to try and create a fake market, because when the Yankees get involved, everybody gets interested and it drives up the price.
Yeah.
And the Yankees were like, nah, we're good. It's crazy.
We're good with Ivan Nova.
Exactly. Supernova.
Yeah. Well, the big Yankee news this week was that you're trying to trade A.J. Burnett, and you're offering to pay $8 million of his $35 million salary that's remaining, or whatever it was. That's enticing, Johnny.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Any takers?
How about this? How about you pay 30 of the $35 million? Okay, maybe.
I know. No, I can't believe nobody leapt at the chance to scrounge up A.J. Burnett and still pay $17 million of his remaining contract. Shocking. Nobody jumped at that opportunity.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. The Red Sox are offering to pay $100 million of the remaining $60 million of John Lackey's salary if you take him. It's $40 million over the sticker price. Please take him. Hold on, let's go back to Pujols because I do want to talk Yankees Red Sox. It is going to be fun to have him in the American League. I'm excited to have him in my Keeper League auction.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Red Sox Angels games. I'm excited to have my team pitch to him. Like, for the first few years before he hits his 40th birthday in 2015,
right.
I think it's going to be really fun to have him in the American League. I'm excited.
I'm excited to see who's worse in the back end of his contract, him or A-Rod.
Oh, I think A-Rod wins.
You think so? Since he's already declining?
Yeah, A-Rod's already declining, and I don't even think that extension kicked in yet.
A 40-year-old A-Rod making $30 million versus a 40-year-old Pujols making $25. It's a good battle, really.
You know, genius move by Pujols, though, to go to the AL, where you have that DH carrot that you can just kind of eventually shift over once you become so decrepit you can't move.
Yeah.
Which is where A-Rod's going to end up, too. But, if you're thinking from Pujols' standpoint of he's won 2 World Series.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like you don't have to chase a ring. You're just going for money and records at this point.
Right.
So the DH is going to enable him to make a run at just about every relevant record, I think.
I guess so. I mean, I think there was still time for him to do that. I was a little surprised by it, frankly, and a little bit bummed out. Not that I'm a Cardinals fan, but the Cardinals have a great fan base. St. Louis is baseball crazy. They live and die with that team, unlike any other sports team they have there.
Yeah.
He's basically a god in that town. From everything I read, they thought all things being equal, he'd go back to the Cardinals because he has a restaurant there and he's really involved in the community. And the Cardinals, they stand the man and their history, and someday they would have built a statue to Pujols out there. So, in the grand scheme of things, over 10 years, $30 million when you're talking about $250 versus $220, which is what I read the number difference was. I mean, do you really need the extra $30 million? I don't begrudge somebody going for the. I'm a capitalist and as American as the next guy, so I believe everybody is entitled to make as much money as they want to make. You want to go get more. That's fine with me, but. I mean, for $30 million to start over with a whole new organization at age 32, quote unquote. I mean, do you really, for $30 million over 10 years? I don't know. I'd stick around and be one of the all-time great Cardinals, have my jersey retired. That's just me. I see your point about DHing, but he still could do that in a couple of years.
It seems like a little bit of an FU because they didn't take care of it when they should have. It's the
respect thing. The money equals respect, basically.
Yeah, I really do think that was part of it. I know when my contract's up in a couple of years, if ESPN lets me become a free agent and Versus is circling me for a terrible sports show, it's going to be a respect thing for me, Johnny. I'm going to take the extra $30 million to give. Right. But no, I mean, I do think there's something to the whole part of why didn't you just lock me up? Why did I have to play my last year out? Why did it get to this point? And at that point, you just go, F you. Forget the loyalty. You didn't show me any loyalty. You had 9 months to negotiate this contract.
Right.
You didn't. So, and what's interesting is the Cardinals fans, they can't really get mad about this because he just helped them win, 2 World Series in 5 years. You get, you dick, Pujols, you're such a dick. Nobody's going to say that.
Right. It's not like a LeBron thing where he never did anything in Cleveland and then vacated the premises.
Well, also, you're probably happy you ducked that contract, right, if you're a Cardinals fan?
Yeah, because the back end of it is going to be a disaster like the A-Rod contract, yeah.
It's horrible. But
the back end, you're just burning. You're basically taking $25 million and setting it on fire.
I was exchanging emails with Jonah Carey last night, who's covering the winter meetings for us for Grantland. Mm-hmm. He was saying that it's actually, if once the numbers are in the 200s for Pujols for 10 years, et cetera, it's actually defensible if he produces in the first 5 years of the deal the way he's produced for his entire career, save for last year, he's a little banged up. But, if he's healthy and doing what Pujols does, he's like a $30 to $35 million player just for the stats that he's giving you.
Yeah, so you're getting the production on the front end of it.
Yeah, and then the back end is basically this sunk cost of you're getting, you would think, a DH that is hitting 270 with 25 homers, maybe gets on base, probably breaks down a couple times a year.
Right.
It's defensible. I mean, he's certainly the most relevant Angel they've ever had since Nolan Ryan, right? I can't even think of another relevant Angel.
No, it's always been about the team. Rod Carew, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But Rod Carew wasn't like a huge superstar, I guess. So
I think it's gonna be a big deal in LA, and especially with how much ground the Dodgers lost, and it's like just not cool to be a Dodger fan right now. That's why the Magic Johnson thing's so important. For if he ends up pulling off the sale for the Dodgers and becomes kind of the front man of that franchise, that's really going to help rebuild what they had in LA. But right now, it's like nobody wants to be a Dodger fan, and it's like it's the ultimate. Everyone jumped off the bandwagon except for the diehards.
Yeah,
and Pujols could swing those people over.
Totally over to the So Anaheim the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim will dominate for years now.
Yeah. Although the dirty little secret is it's really hard to go to an Angels game if you live in LA. It's a good hour, and that's like assuming you're leaving at noon for a 7:30 game. Like if you leave at like 5, it's 2 hours on the 5 highway. And then it's like it's really a commitment. So it's an Orange County team. I don't really feel like they're an LA team, but but anyway, back to the Angels for a second. So they have Pujols, they have Torrey Hunter, they have Howie Kendrick who came on, they have Trumbo who's a runner-up Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
They have that Mike Trout who everybody is just like having an orgasm about. They're going to get a full year from him. Danny Herron, Jared Weaver, C.J. Wilson. They have a closer. That might be the best team in the AL, Johnny?
Could be. I think we've learned to shy away from the old Dream Team moniker now after the Heat and the Eagles, but
good point.
On paper, they certainly look formidable, I would say. And Scioscia's a good manager too. Throw that in there.
Would you take their top 10 guys over the Yankees' top 10 guys? I'm going online so I can read you their top 10. God, I can't believe they got C.J. Wilson.
Well, their pitching staff is better because the Yankees have Sabathia and 4 question marks basically because you don't know if Nova's going to do what Nova did last year. Freddie Garcia is Freddie Garcia, AJ Burnett's AJ Burnett, and Phil Hughes is Phil Hughes. So it's like that's a crapshoot every night. Who knows? I don't think the Yankees are done. I think allegedly there's rumors about different trades and things, but who knows?
Oh, I forgot about...
At the moment... Sorry, go ahead.
I forgot about Miser Torres. Sorry.
That clinches it then.
No, but I actually did forget about Irvin Santana.
Yeah,
Holy
they do have
mackerel.
Santana. I was thinking that.
Weaver, Herron, Santana, and C.J. Wilson. Good God almighty. All those guys are good. And they all get innings. Like, Weaver, Herron, and Santana all threw for over 225 innings last year, unlike the guys that the Yankees and the Red Sox have.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's a formidable team. They're probably the favorites in the AL, I suppose.
You know what, Johnny? Let's just hand them the title right now.
Let's do it. It's over.
Congratulations, Angels. Congrats on the 2012 World Series title.
Let's focus on 2013.
We couldn't beat you. Yeah, you just had too much firepower for us. Why even play the season? I think the Red Sox should rebuild now.
Dream team. Clearly a dream team in LA, in Anaheim.
What were you hoping that the Yankees were going to end up with during this winter?
I was hoping that they would be interested in Burley. I don't understand why Burley sort of fell off the map. Wasn't that long ago? The guy was great, and he's a lefty. He's pitched in the AL, so it's not like you're getting somebody from the National League, which is always shaky. So I was hoping they would add one more pitcher. I wasn't crazy enough to think they were going to be in on any of the big free agents. And if C.J. Wilson's price came down a little bit, I would have been a little bit intrigued by him, although he was horrific in the postseason.
Yeah.
So that makes you wonder a little bit about pitching on the big stage. But you can never have too many left-handers. So I'm always intrigued by a lefty pitcher who's had success.
What about
and Burley signed for like $53 million. Again, a couple of years ago they were throwing 5 years and 82 at AJ Burnett. So 4 for 53 for Burley or whatever he signed for 55 or 53, I think, is not ridiculous.
It did seem like the prices came down this year with the notable exception of Mr. Papelbon.
Yes.
And the Phillies now have to be looking at that going, oh, my God, what are we doing?
Might have jumped in a little early on that one.
I was shocked. Toronto basically stole Sergio Santos from the White Sox for like some Double-A prospect that I'm sure is a good prospect, but he wasn't like an elite prospect. He wasn't on my AL keeper minor league draft radar or anything. That's like a real closer. I was surprised that they were just able to get a guy who has proven that he can close games for one prospect. Seemed weird.
Yeah,
I would have taken that guy for the Red Sox.
But the White Sox are in rebuilding mode, right? Aren't they just basically emptying out everything now?
All right, but we'll get at least 2 prospects for the guy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my teams. I guess I'm gonna have the Bard on this year, Johnny.
You lost your Pebble Boner, but you're gonna get the Bard on.
Yeah, I'll have my Bard on and my T-Boner. It should be a big 2012 for me.
I saw it in the paper. They had his stats when he was a starter, either in college. I guess he was a good starter in college at North Carolina. Yeah. But then in the minors, his starting career was not what you'd call great.
We had him on our team. He walked like 15 guys per 9 innings or something. It was some crazy stat.
I believe his ERA was in the 7 range, and then they converted him to a reliever, and he was great. Yeah. I mean, I've been down this road with Jabba Chamberlain, and he was lights out as a setup guy and not so good as a starter.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason guys get converted to be closers or setup guys or relievers. So it's because they couldn't really hack it as a starter. So now to do it, to say, oh, well, he'll be able to throw 98 consistently. Yeah, probably not. For 6-7 innings.
The Red Sox season ended so horribly, and then the smear campaign that followed, and just everything, and then Francona, and then Theo leaves, and then the new GM comes in, and they just immediately, like, Lucchino just chops his scrotum off and just holds it up in the air in press conferences. Hey, here's this guy's scrotum. Anybody want to see his scrotum? And they had this 5-week managerial search where it was obvious they were just going to get Bobby V, and they hadn't talked this new guy into it yet.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, but I'm going to interview Sandy Alomar. They're like, okay, well, you're going to hire Bobby V. You can interview all these guys. And then we end up with the inevitable Bobby V, who I don't really have a reaction. People are like, why don't you write about this? I'm like, what are we going to write about? He's a 61-year-old manager. Yeah, he had a great restaurant in Stanford that I've been to. Like,
he invented the rap.
10 years. His Texas teams overachieved a little.
Yeah.
The Mets team overachieved a little.
Yeah.
And then he went to Japan.
Sure.
And then he worked on a television show, and now he's the manager of the Boston Red Sox.
Anytime you can hire the guy with the 3rd most wins in history without ever having a team in first place, you've got to do it.
These last 3 months with the Red Sox must be among your favorite that you've ever spent as a baseball fan, I'm guessing.
Oh, my God, yeah. I mean, the collapse and then the smear campaign on Francona, which was just despicable. About the pills and everything, and then he gets interviewed for the Cardinals job, and it's like the first question, like, hey, what's up with your addiction to painkillers?
Yeah.
And I mean, Lucchino's hands are so all over that. It's beyond question.
I don't know if it's Lucchino, but it's
from ownership. Let's put it that way.
It's somebody in that franchise. It's just amazing how every time somebody leaves, the guy get rigged through the coals afterwards.
I know.
I mean, really, we're like at 9 years of this now.
They're a little slow to rake Theo over the coals. I can't believe they haven't dragged him through the mud lately.
Well, you know why? I think
because they're waiting for the compensation to come through, I suppose.
No, because Theo knows where some of the bodies are buried.
Oh, okay.
You gotta move a little more carefully when somebody can point out, we buried a body over there by the creek. There's one under Fenway by left field. There's one. You got to be a little careful.
He can counterpunch after the fact. That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Theo was the big winner. He did a really bad job the last couple years, and he won 2 World Series, so he had a lot of leeway from that. Everybody likes him. And he left at the perfect time and parlayed that into a job where now there's a ton of upside and no downside. Whereas the Red Sox job the Red Sox job was all downside and really no upside.
Yeah.
At this point, like, oh great, you won 3 titles instead of 2. Like he was going to get all the credit he'd ever gotten anyway, and was in this position where they're just throwing money at guys. They'd become the Yankees, and I think he got out at the right time.
Well, interestingly, I was reading on the Boston Globe the other day about how the Red Sox like where they are now in terms of payroll at like $1.75 is right where they want to be. So if Ortiz accepted arbitration, which he did, which was going to get them up to like 175, they have no more money to spend because of the contracts to Crawford and Lackey and Dice K. They're so locked in that even with J.D. Drew and Papelbon coming off the books, because guys get big raises, they're stuck at 175 and they don't want to go any higher. So all this talk about Beltran or Kadire or some other right fielder, your right fielder is going to be Ryan Kalish.
Oh. Hold on, I zoned out there for a second. Were you talking Pawtucket or the Boston Red Sox?
No, and all this talk about, they're in on these pitchers or that pitcher. They don't have any money to pay these guys because that's where they want the payroll to be.
I found that here's how I've handled the last 3 months, Johnny. I have 2 healthy kids.
Yeah.
I have a nice wife who likes me. I live in a place where it's warm outside. I'm not going to let them drag me down, Johnny. I'm just not. They're not dragging me down. I'm not getting caught up. As Ben Cherington was on his 6th week of manager interviews, I was like, I'm not letting this drive me down. Holidays are coming up. I have the Patriots. I have good health. I'm not doing this. You're not getting me.
The thing I love about the Red Sox is there's so many things in terms of this regime, but I mean, that press conference, I actually listened to it on the radio on the way home because I was curious about what they were going to ask Valentine. And this notion when Cherington gets up there and says, Bobby V was my choice and I recommended him to ownership on Monday. Yeah, I mean, there's nobody on the planet that believes that.
No.
It's such a bald-faced lie. I mean, it's like Baghdad Bob during the Iraq War saying there's no Americans in Baghdad as like an American tank rolls behind him. I mean, nobody believes that. So why even say it or do a pretense of there's nobody that buys that.
Baghdad Ben.
My 4-month-old daughter was watching the press conference and said to me, that's not true. I mean, nobody believes that. It's ridiculous.
Good plug for your daughter. I liked how you wrote that in.
Thank you. Every time Larry Lucchino's on my TV screen, I have to get Windex out and clean it off because he's so oily and so full of it.
Oh my God.
He's just so bad at it too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so ham-handed in his BS. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I just keep reminding myself where we were in 2002 and 2003, where if somebody had said you can win a World Series, but you're going to. I mean, the more
fun thing is going to be when this whole thing implodes in a couple of years, which it will. The backbiting between Bobby V and Larry Lucchino, neither of whom is a shrinking violet. So I am more excited for that smear job and back and forth and finger pointing and that disaster waiting to happen. That's going to be so much fun.
Well, here's the big win. And listen, this is not a blatant attempt to just trumpet ESPN because Lord knows we've made some mistakes lately. I'm really excited to have Francona on the Sunday night game. I thought he was great when he did Fox.
Yeah, and he's pretty funny actually. He's really good. Comments and stuff.
Yeah, he's really good, and I just love when it only happens, every couple of years with the different sports. But the last time it happened was with Van Gundy in basketball. When you can grab somebody that's just been in the trenches for a really long time and really knows so much more stuff than somebody like McCarver would know because he hasn't played for 30 years or whatever and hasn't managed. I'm really excited to just watch those games and hear him, tell me different things about different players and stuff. And I like him. So I was excited for that. I think it'll be fun when him and Schilling do the occasional baseball tonight.
And Nomar on the Red Sox Sportsnet programming network. It's an outrage. Poor Dave Winfield is so outgunned.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean,
he might have to get Howie Spira.
Ravitch is a Red Sox guy, and then you have you have Nomar, Big Shill, and now Terry Francona. It's really an outrage to Yankee Nation everywhere.
What?
And I can't believe the way you just threw the 2011 Ford C. Frick winner Tim McCarver under the bus like that.
That's a good one, Johnny. Ford C. Frick, what is that?
He just got into the Hall of Fame in the broadcaster's wing. The broadcaster gets the Ford Frick Award.
He's in the Hall of Fame for broadcasting?
Sure, he just got in. He's got in yesterday or the day before, I think, recently.
Oh, Johnny. Oh boy. Joe Mead has the bleep button just ready. His finger's just on it. He's waiting for me to say something. I'm gonna fight it off. So yeah, this is it's been a relatively quiet winter for our two teams, other than the Bobby V manager search that lasted for 2 months. Nothing really going on with the Yankees at all. It's bizarre.
I think the Yankees and the Red Sox is kind of like the Cold War with the U.S. and Russia, where they both just kind of wore each other out the last couple of years, and now it's like, the Florida Marlins and the Angels are out spending $500 million, and the Yankees and the Red Sox are just spent and looking for scraps on the edges.
The Marlins.
Yankees got that won the big posting battle yesterday for Hiroki Nakajima from the Seibu Lions.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, it's big for us. Hiroki Nakajima in English means difference maker. It's a big change. That could be the final piece of the puzzle.
I think what I've enjoyed the most has been the Marlins. Hey, Hanley, is it all right if you move to third base and we get Reyes? Yeah, that sounds great. Hey, we have Jose Reyes, $106 million, 6 years. Well, that sucks. I don't want to play third base. What? You just said a week ago you did. Nah, I don't anymore. All right, now what do we do?
And Ozzie Dean at the helm, negotiating that situation. That should be good.
Oh, he had a 10-minute expletive-laden phone call with Hanley. I thought we agreed to this. I actually, tell me if this is wrong, Johnny. Actually, secretly kind of hoping the Red Sox bring Hanley back.
Of course, every Red Sox fan is. If you go on the Boston Globe and read the comments, somebody was saying you could trade Josh Beckett to the Marlins straight up for Hanley Ramirez. I don't think the Marlins are going to go for that one. You might have to throw in Ryan Kalish as well, I think.
We'd have to pay for Beckett's fast food bills during the season. We have to throw that in.
I don't know if they have a Popeyes in Miami.
Extra $500,000. That was another part that was so awful about these last 3 months was the whole, these guys were eating chicken and drinking beer in the clubhouse. And then they're like, no, we weren't. It was only a couple times. That was their response. And only when we were winning and late in the game.
Right.
It was only when we had rally beers. Oh, okay. Rally beers. That's great. Why aren't you in the dugout watching the game with your teammates?
In their defense, if you're a starting pitcher, you're not going to play that day. There's 162 games in the year. You've seen it once. You've seen it before.
Can we all agree that
hot being dugout?
Can we all agree that being a baseball player isn't grueling?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, those guys need to let off some steam during the game. It's like, all right, so you sit there and eat sunflower seeds for the 130 games that you're not playing, and your only responsibility is to be in a relatively decent shape.
Yeah.
And it's funny because during the season, my dad was going, I feel like our pitchers have gained weight. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, these guys don't look like they're in shape to me. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, Dad. And then it comes out after that they actually gained weight.
Yeah.
How do you gain weight when you're a professional athlete? I don't understand that.
Well, that was the best part of this. One of the better parts of the story was the guy who was the strength and conditioning coach. He makes $80,000 or something. Beckett's got a $15 million contract, and the coach is like, hey, how about some laps today, Josh? And Josh looks at the guy and is like, nope, don't think so. How's that guy going to tell him what to do,
Josh Beckett was like, laps? Laps around the field?
Right. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's going to haunt those guys. And the best thing they could do, my advice to them, is to come – well, Lackey doesn't matter because he's having Tommy John surgery. And there is a chance that he was pitching hurt. It certainly would explain his 79-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah.
But the best thing Beckett could do would be to come in just badass, phenomenal shape and then spend a lot of time walking around with his shirt off. That's like Chris Humphries in the Kardashian show. Just a lot of shirt off time.
Well, it can go one of two ways. Either he
interviews.
takes it personally and he works out feverishly in the off season and comes back totally jacked up, or he just says "F you" to Boston and the team and just comes in 280 pounds.
Right.
Because Beckett could go either way. Because I don't think he really cares. I've seen his surly post-game press conferences, so I'm not sure that he's all that. He doesn't really care. He gets paid either way. He'd rather be out hunting deer or something in Texas anyway, so it doesn't matter to him.
That would be awesome if he showed up fatter, just as the ultimate FU.
And the thing is, the people do have a good point when they say, had the Red Sox not had the biggest regular season collapse of all time, and made the playoffs and made a run in the playoffs, like everybody, it would be like the idiots in 2004. Oh, they were doing shots at Jack Daniels, Oh, what a crazy bunch. But now it's like, oh my God, they ate chicken and drank beer, so that's why they stunk,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
The chemistry was weird the whole year, and you could see it as it was, like the little stuff, like the guys standing on the top step during. You can tell when your team is locked in and likes each other, and you can tell when they're kind of drifting.
After a while, hearing the same voice over and over again, like they did with Francona, it probably gets a little old. And I'm not sure. Going from him to Bobby V is going to be like a huge change, though. I'm not sure how that's going to go down.
Well, the difference is Bobby B won't be going through a horrible divorce and popping pills like Francona was.
Oh my God, he was
in the clubhouse. He popped pills. Stop popping pills, Terry. So stupid. I am so disgusted by that whole thing. I really needed an off season from baseball to just regroup and try to figure out a way to like this franchise again that's owned by these guys that allowed all that stuff to happen.
The guy who's really going to be hurt by it is the teacher's pet, Dustin Pedroia, who used to be in the manager's office, playing cribbage with him. You're the best, Terry. You're the greatest manager ever. You're wonderful.
Hey, Terry, another game of cribbage?
Yeah.
I can't. I have to pop pills. Get out of here. You don't want to see this kid.
Of course, he's smart, Pedroia. I heard him on the radio saying, "Oh, Valentine, he's going to be a good manager. Good, I'm looking forward to it."
Yeah.
Can I shine your cleats, Mr. Valentine? Clown.
I don't like these Pedroia jokes now. You crossed the line.
I've gone too far. He's the heart and soul of that team.
They were funny for a second, but now you don't talk about Dusty like that.
If only he had gotten between Terry Francona and his pills, how things would have been different.
Well, the Red Sox are in a tiny bit of trouble here because the Bruins have become like a local phenomenon.
Yeah.
And nobody likes that Red Sox team right now. And the Bruins, Tyler Seguin is like a legit Brady threat right now.
Really? He could take over the town?
Could take over the town. And by the way, acting like it and had to be scratched from a game because he might have missed the morning meeting.
Really?
And he's like 19 or 20 and he's in Boston. He's also, my dad's worried because he doesn't live with a family.
He's on his own?
You know how the young guys, the under 21 guys will live with the family and Tyler Seguin's like living in Boston with roommates?
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little
That's
worse.
That's a smart play. That's the way to do it.
That's the way you and I would do it. I'm not sure that's the way you want the face of your NHL franchise to do it, but yeah. Anyway, the Bees.
Yeah, were they like 13 in a row or something, right?
Oh yeah, the Bees.
And they kind of stumbled out of the gate with a little post-Stanley Cup hangover.
Little cup hangover, Johnny.
But then they flipped the switch, and now they're a juggernaut.
We will call you one more time before the holidays, assuming the Yankees or Red Sox do anything.
Excellent.
Thank you as always.
Don't call me if the Yankees get you, Darvish, because I won't answer.
I'm definitely calling you if the Yankees get you, Darvish. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care, buddy.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the B.S Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.